Hello and welcome back to another episode of Idiots with Pipes. I'm Jeremiah.
And I'm Scott. Today we'll be smoking Boswell's Northwoods.
And we're pairing it with one of my favorite cocktails, the Old Fashioned. So today we are taking the Southeast Forest by J.M. Boswell. Little is known about this blender, except that they like to recover their tobacco from the mythic woods at an undisclosed location. A lot of people have suspected for a long time that it is actually somewhere north of the North Pole.
Right. Or they're one of the premier blenders out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, J.M. Boswell.
Oh, yeah. Not confused with J and J.
Yeah. No, this
Boswell.
is Northwoods. Yeah. I was thinking of thinking of a completely different thing. Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So this is actually why I talk about the tobacco, because I actually do know.
I just wanted to try it
more than some people.
More than me.
But yeah, so Northwoods, they say this is very similar to Frogmorton's McClellan's. That's who owns the Frogmorton, which is no longer available.
Really? Is that why we don't have that today?
That is 100% why we don't have it today, because I don't have any. But doing some research, they said that for whatever reason, McClellan's Frogmorton pairs nicely with our drink today, which we don't have any of. So, having some of Boswell's Northwoods, people claim it is very similar. So we'll see if the pairing guide is worth a crap.
So, Boswell's southern region is similar to who? McClellan's Frog Legs?
Yep, very close to that. You almost had it there. But yeah, so this is going to be a little more Latakia heavy, which we are both kind of fans of.
A little Latakia heavy.
A little Latakia, a lot of Latakia heavy.
A little Latakia light, maybe?
This has been aging a little over a year since I got it. Not intentional, just I ordered so much, I just hadn't got to this one yet. So first few puffs there, what do you think?
I like it so far. I'm getting actually a nice blend of Latakia and the Northwoods. Tastes good when they're on fire.
Definitely much tastier than the Southwoods. But it's good. It's definitely got some Latakia in it. And I will say, I've been smoking this not often, but I've gone through probably 3 or 4 ounces of it. This is definitely the oldest I've ever smoked, most aged, and it already tastes different.
I say that every day that I smoke, that this is the oldest I've ever smoked,
Well,
I'm not as old now as I will be tomorrow, and that will be the oldest I've ever smoked. But for now, this is the oldest I've ever smoked. And today is yesterday's tomorrow, and tomorrow is today's yesterday.
Yeah, Anyway, so what are you smoking out of there, sir?
This is my Peterson Emerald 221 that I received from Josh, actually.
Oh, very cool.
A while back. This is the second time I've smoked this on the show. I really like this pipe a lot. One of my favorites.
Very nice. Well, I am smoking Boswell's Northwoods out of a Boswell.
Well, look at you.
I know. So this was the second pipe I ever bought from Boswell back in 2014. It's got his little signature right here. 2014, J.M. Boswell.
That's a pretty pipe. I like it.
Appreciate it. It's red. It's got some grooves on it.
A lightning.
It is.
Sort of finish on that?
I guess you can compare it to Morgan's lightning finish, but I think this is more carved. I think it's carved, not electrocuted into the wood. But what's really cool about this one is what I was alluding to there, is that I used to name my pipes. Every good pipe should have a name.
Really?
So I named the first 2 off of what was going on or where I was when I first smoked it. So this one, I first smoked on my porch at home. At the time, I was living on a street called Evening Falls. And so this one being kind of a darker red, a like the sun setting. I was like, you know what? Let's call her Evening Falls. So here you are, Evening Falls.
So you just named it after the street you lived on. Mm-hmm. Very clever.
Which is the street I was on when I first smoked it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, clever.
So this Northwoods, it's a good mix of Black Cavendish. It's a little heavier, a lot of Kia, and some Virginia. So I think, again, this is a lot better smoke than I had last time I smoked it. And it could be the Virginias have aged nicely because it does have over a year. Virginia does age a little bit.
Yeah. No, I like this a lot. It's the first time I have tried Northwoods. But I like pretty much everything I've had from Boswell's, which is only a small handful of things, but I really like. This is really good. I get a lot of Kia pairs very nicely with the breadiness, not too overpowering. The lot of Kia isn't. And the breadiness pairs great with this drink that we're having, the old fashioned.
So tell us, how'd you make this here old fashioned, sir?
So my old fashions I got from a lady named Ethel at the racetrack.
You too? Okay. Wow, she's giving out drink recipes too?
Drink recipes, cigarillos, pretty much anything you can think of. So this old-fashioned recipe was basically modeled after the best old-fashioned that I've ever had. It was at a historic hotel in Louisville, Kentucky, called the Brown Hotel. There was a bartender there. Did a great job. The only thing he did different is he used a rye whiskey instead of bourbon whiskey, which I like. The spice of it pairs nicely. It kind of balances with the sweetness of the old-fashioned really well. But he uses basically the other thing he does different is he uses simple syrup. I like to use a sugar cube because I think it's kind of classic. I like the like the I don't know, it's just fun. But also I like how the drink's a little stiffer up front, and then as you get to the bottom, it gets a little sweeter and the little graininess of the sugar as it's broken up. So besides that, everything else is the same. So 3 dashes each of the orange bitters and the aromatic bitters on top of the sugar cube. A little dash of soda water, about a teaspoon or so, just to kind of help the carbonation, and it helps break down the sugar cube a little bit. Add in your whiskey, bourbon, rye, whatever you want to go with. Muddle that up, lower your cube in there, give it a good stir. Let it cool down a good bit. Drop in a cherry. I get just a little bit of the syrup in there with it. Take a slice of orange peel and express the oils over the top of the glass. Drop that in there, and she's ready to go.
Very nice. Very interesting.
So I know you're a bit of an old-fashioned fan too, Scott. What do you do different? I know you do a little different, right?
So I do mine a little different, yeah. So I prefer simple syrup. I make my own homemade simple syrup, so I can kind of control the sweetness, because I don't want it as sweet as some of the stuff you buy at the store. And then I mix equal parts whiskey with simple syrup. I don't put the cherry in it for whatever reason. I don't. Laziness, I guess.
Do you like cherry?
It's okay.
I don't like cherries, actually. I only like them in an old fashioned.
So
Typically, I don't like cherry flavored things.
Okay.
I hate, unpopular opinion, I hate Colt Blood Red Moon because of the
that's where we're
cherry.
different there, sir. I do like the
despise
room note of Colt.
The room note, I'll agree with that. The room note is nice, but I despise the taste of the cherry. It's like cherry candy, kind of.
It is, exactly.
Which I guess
like
is what
cherry
people,
candy.
I guess is what people like about it, but I just don't like that.
Well, I just said maybe one of the reasons why I like Colt is one of the first aromatic tobaccos I got. Found it online, said this was like the #1 best aromatic tobacco, so I got it. And it was the first one I ever walked in from smoking outside. And my wife went, "Oh, that actually smells kind of good." So I went and bought like 5 tins.
Happy wife, happy life, more pipes.
Trademark. But eats with pipes. So I don't put a cherry in mine. I do use orange and aromatic bitters. And I'm never really usually have an orange around, even though I love oranges. I just never do. So I don't put an orange peel in it. I just usually put a little extra dash or two of orange bitters to offset it. But that's really the only thing different in mine. No cherry, no orange peel, and simple syrup instead of sugar.
So just completely different. That's the only thing different.
Yeah, it's all different. Just like 90% of the recipe's different.
A lot of people just use orange bitters instead of the orange peel, but I like to do both. I think that orange peel, when you first express that, like give it a twist, and you can see, if you watch closely, you can see the oil kind of explode off of it and coat the
Now
glass.
it was cool to watch somebody else have to do that.
You were telling me about a local restaurant here, a local steakhouse that does a
Yeah.
really good old fashioned. What was that? It's like a smoked old. I haven't had it yet.
Yes.
But you were telling me.
Okay. So, place downtown. It's called Restaurant Iron. Is phenomenal. To me, the best steak restaurant in town, hands down. But the smoked old fashioned, so good. I don't know what they do. I think they put cocaine in it or something because it's so good. I think about it often. But yes, I love the old fashioned at Iron. They use I think Four Roses, I believe is the bourbon they use. Topper for me, they put this big old piece, no exaggeration, at least this long, about that thick of bacon. And they cook their own in-house bacon, and they pre-cook it. And what they do is they use a blowtorch to heat it up before they put it on there. They actually serve it to you with the bacon sitting right on top. They do smoke the old fashioned. I watched them make it one time. They have the little, I guess it's a piece of kind of wood, hold the shaker over the top, the wood go into the shaker while they make the drink. And then they pull that off, put the shaker together, and then shake the drink in the smoke. I guess that's infusing it. I don't know. But shake it all up together, let the smoke out, pour the drink in there. So it has a little bit of a, not a campfire because it's a whatever wood they use.
A lot of Kia. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah,
Got
sure.
a lot of Kia flavor.
It's got a lot of Kia flavor in the whiskey. But it has a slight smoke flavor to it. And the bacon, I have to split half of it with my wife every time. She don't like old fashions, but she's getting half of my bacon. So, sacrifice I got to make. So if I want a whole piece of bacon, I just got to order 2.
Happy wife, happy life, more
pipes.
So last week, took the family to the zoo,
Okay.
and we had like this, I guess, tour guide kind of walking around with us, telling us different things. And we stop at the one exhibit, I guess you would call it, and there's a lion there, and he's talking about the lion and its roar and how powerful the lion is and how loud the roar is and what the lion eats, and just kind of giving the kids some cool facts, right? So we go to the next thing, and it's some monkeys, and he's doing the same thing, talking about like their life expectancy, what they like to eat, that kind of thing. Well, we go to the third thing, and it's just an empty cage with a baguette on the floor. And we're standing there like waiting for something to come out, And we're looking at him, waiting for him to say something, and he doesn't. He's just kind of looking at us. The kids are like, "Dad, what's supposed to be in here?" I was like, "I don't know." So I look at him, and I finally ask him, "What is this? What are we waiting on? What is this?" And he just looks back at us and says, "That's bred in captivity."
We all went to a zoo one time.
Yeah.
All I had was one dog, the Shih Tzu. So, speaking of old fashioned,
Yeah.
do you know the history of the old fashioned, where it came from?
I know it's old.
So the old fashioned actually started around, I believe, the early 1800s. It was made with whiskey, sugar, water, bitters. That was it. It was created. They tried all kinds of different whiskeys as all these cocktails are becoming more and more popular. But the old fashioned became the simple drink bartenders could always rely on because it was easy to make with just those 4 main ingredients. Then Prohibition hit. And the quality of the whiskey was usually suspect. You never really knew exactly what kind you were getting, which you say something about bottled and bond kind of fixed that. Okay, yep. So that's when they started adding, they actually muddled cherries and oranges into the old fashioned to kind of rough out the edges created from this very subpar whiskey. Because in Prohibition, you got what you got.
Even if it killed you.
Yep. So that would soften the edges so you at least enjoyed it while you drink your last drink before it killed you. And then once the whiskey quality rose back up, they just kind of kept the same recipe. And there's no real reason why bourbon is the main ingredient. It just became the favorite. They've tried old fashions with everything. So if anybody has like a new spin on an old fashioned using gin or mezcal, it's all been done before. Just bourbon was the preferred alcohol for old fashions.
I did not know that. I did know that Old Fashioned fits the original definition of cocktail. Now it just, the definition of cocktail is like spirit or spirits and other ingredients, something like that. But the original definition was spirits, water, sugar, and bitters. And the Old Fashioned was like exactly that. That's all I know about the Old Fashioned.
Well, now you know more. You're welcome. Speaking of prohibition, speakeasies were real popular. I think we actually have one in town, don't we?
They had to be popular because it was the only way to sneak around and enjoy a drink without going to jail back in the day. But yes.
But you couldn't talk very fiercely, though, right?
You had to, what was it? Well, how did they put it? You had
I
to
had,
speak easy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
talking
so
hard.
speakeasies, yeah, they're coming back now. Like, oh, they've been back, I guess, for the last couple of years. But it's a trend now where they create these secret bars that you can only find by word of mouth, and there's like a secret entrance to it.
Yeah.
Whether a bookshelf moves, it's sometimes they're hidden inside of another storefront, whether it's a, you know, like a coffee shop or something, and bookshelf moves and there's a secret bar in there or whatever. And there's some cool ones. Visited a few of them or two of them rather in Louisville that were really neat.
Nice.
But yeah, there is one local here called, there's a restaurant called Brother Fox, Sister Hand. It's a bed and breakfast. You come outside the restaurant and kind of go to the side and go down this alley and down these stairs. It's like 4 or 5 steps, kind of go down this alley. And there's just this door. And above the door is a red light. There's no doorknob or anything on it. But next to it is this little, like, it's not a phone booth, but it's a little phone box on the wall. And you open the box and pick up the phone. And it says, please wait while your party is reached. And you just hear, like, hold music playing. And then the door opens and somebody leans out and says, how many? And you tell them like 2 or whatever, and they look around and say, all right, come in, and you walk in there. And it's like this little room, you know, it's...
If I remember, I think it only holds like 10 or 12 people. Like, it's real small.
Yeah, I think it's 12. It only holds 12. There's like this little couch, and then the rest of it's just seated at the bar. But it's awesome. Like, the drinks they serve there, you can't get at the restaurant. And the bartender there has actually won Bartender of the Year this past year in all of Pensacola, which is really cool. But yeah, it's a great place. The restaurant's really good. The speakeasy is really good. The bed and breakfast looks cool. I've never stayed there because I live right down the road. But if you're ever in Pensacola, it's definitely something to try out. Yeah, so we used Eagle Rare in this Old Fashioned because it's your favorite. It's your favorite bourbon, isn't it?
Yeah, it actually is my favorite bourbon.
And it's your favorite bourbon to go in this Old Fashioned. So it is good. Typically, I like a little bit of a spicier bourbon with an Old Fashioned because I like how the spice balances the sweet out. But the Eagle Rare is really good. It goes well. It does. Even though it's a little sweeter, it does go well.
It is. That's one of the things why I actually started cutting back on the simple syrup that I use. Like I said, I usually do 1-to-1 ratio. However, I started cutting back a little bit on simple syrup just because the Eagle Rare is so much sweeter.
Yeah.
But it's just so smooth and it's so good. And when you can find it, it really is pretty cheap. However, you can't always find Eagle Rare because it is allocated. It is hard to get. So I have a go-to that is about half the price, but is always available. It's called Benchmark. Single barrel is basically an Eagle Rare match. I believe it's the same mash bill, perhaps.
I think, so maybe I'm wrong, but I thought the Benchmark, it's all Buffalo Trace product, just like the Eagle Rare. It's the same juice, it's just not aged as long.
Now I know when you compare them side by side straight, it's a very obvious difference. But in an Old Fashioned, man, it's hard to tell them apart. It really is. Tobacco, what do you think?
It is really good. I would definitely be smoking. Is this readily available? Because I know sometimes you give me stuff that's not available.
Nope, this one is readily available.
Say you're never going to have it again, but
they have it stockpiled.
Northwoods from Boswell's. I plan on placing an order from Boswell soon to get some honey roast.
Ooh, honey roast, recommend. Yep.
Is it English biscuit?
English, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. We got to do an episode on that. I love
English biscuit.
So good.
Gonna get those 2 from there, and I want to try out that Christmas cookie. I just saw some
good
reviews on it. To save for my Christmas stash. I have a few Christmas tobaccos put away. But yeah, I'm gonna add that to the order for sure. I really like it, and it goes well with the sweetness of this. I think goes well with the kind of the Latakia, Virginia.
It does.
If we went with a sweeter tobacco, I almost feel like it would be overbearing. But I think it balances well. I'm going to try this pairing again.
No, I agree. I do like the pairing. Tobacco, I swear this is a lot better Well, it's got like a little over, I guess what, about a year and a half of age on it. It's March of last year.
I forgot about that. So that's the other thing is it's probably not going to be as good.
It's
right
good.
out of the.
But
This
this is
says canned in March 31st, 23. So
yep.
a
So
little
got
over
a
a
good,
year.
yeah, a little over a year, approaching a year and a half. But it is a little sweeter. Maybe it melded together better.
Yeah.
But Northwoods is good. This just had a little bit of a sweeter touch to it. Not a lot. I mean, years. It's not a lot in a year.
That's not a lot of age, not a lot of Kia. Just a
Just right.
little. Just right. Goldilocks.
Yep.
Goldilocks.
But the pairing was great, and your recipe for old fashioned is good. So a touch of grit at the end, a little bit sweeter. I enjoyed it. Well done, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, I guess that'll do it for us here.
Thanks for stopping by. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, there's no better way to show us that you hate what we do than to like and subscribe.
And also throw a comment down there if you have any other topics that you want us to talk about, or you want to mention anything you liked or want to discuss about our episode. Let us know in the comments, and we'll talk to you next time.
Until then,
But what do we know? We're just idiots with a pipe.
stay classy. Guess we need to pipe our packs.
We need to pipe our packs.
We are going to. All right, let's just.
Pipe our packs.
We are about to pipe our packs with.